this video segment, we're really going to focus on two areas in this diagram, meaning and acquisition. As you know, we just finished talking about established goals and we talked about transfer goals. So now as we get into this next section, we're really looking at defining learning targets, and the learning targets will always bring in both of these areas, things that we have students acquire, that's knowledge and skills, and the understanding or meaning that comes from whatever our transfer goals are, whatever the heart is that we're after in our particular units and lessons. Meaning is made up of those enduring understandings, those statements themselves, and also the essential questions that help lead students to that. When we define understanding, we're really thinking about three things. We're thinking about big ideas, we're thinking about essential questions, and we're thinking about connections that knowledge and skills have with those two areas. When we think about a big idea are really phrases, and they're concepts and abstractions, themes. Within particular disciplines, we always have these big ideas that kind of generate out and that we really want kids to grapple with. In mathematics, for example, one big idea is the importance of number sense and what really is important to know about numbers, how to manipulate numbers, how to represent numbers, how to use numbers in problem solving. So that's a big idea that we should be after with kids from the time they come into kindergarten, really all the way through. When you think about the structure of knowledge with thinking about big ideas, you have these these five categories. You have factual knowledge, you have things that are very discrete in skills, you have concepts that are transferable, you have these processes that are rather complex, you have principles and generalizations. All of these areas, these five things, really should be considered as you are seeking to develop and define big ideas. There's no formula for really telling you that this is what you should do to actually come up with a big idea. This is part of the mental energy that you need to expend in curriculum design, where you just really look at your resources, you think about knowledge, you think about processes, you think about development of kids, and you say, okay, this is a big idea that we really want to emphasize in a particular unit or in our particular course. The big ideas are always things that we have to uncover or infer. We don't just tell a student or tell any learner what a big idea is. We want them to be able to figure it out. It's that conceptual lens. It helps them connect, transfer, understanding, knowledge, and skills, and it can be transferable across discipline. The essential questions that we develop are those things that have no right or wrong answer, but that we could continue to sustain inquiry and focus on learning and allow us to come up with the understanding. That question, what about the big ideas should students come to understand, is really the heart of the essential questions. The nice thing for us is in that K-12 curriculum framework document I referenced in the last module, we have examples of all of these essential questions that the state has given us in mathematics that we should be able to use as a starting place. So maybe use that as a starting place and then try to decide what are the big ideas that come out of us considering those essential questions in mathematics. They are questions that are arguable, the heart of the subject. They should recur. We can ask the same essential question in kindergarten and in 12th grade because the learning that happens in kindergarten and the understanding of a kindergartner will look different than a 12th grader, even if the question itself is still the same. That's part of the uncovering process that happens. Some sample essential questions. Who are my true friends? To what extent is geography destiny? How different is scientific theory from a plausible belief? Just some examples. This final piece on this video I just wanted to highlight is the knowledge and skills section. We know that we get our knowledge and skills. We can define what should be focused on through our standards. When we unpack those standards as we looked at in Module 1, as we bundle them together, that really helps inform what knowledge and what skills students should demonstrate in a particular unit. They're very discrete, they're talked about and taught. They are not necessarily uncovered, but they are things that we must ensure kids acquire. That on our curriculum maps, when we get into that section in just a minute, we list those in this area right over here, where we have the knowledge that students possess and we have the skills. We sort of define that. But what's really important is that the knowledge and skills must be acquired in order for students to demonstrate for us the meaning itself, the understanding itself, and they must be acquired in order for them to actually demonstrate the transfer goals that we've already defined.